Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is January 2nd. And yesterday, the new year started off with a 7.6 earthquake that has brought major damage, at least 50 deaths, and terrible chaos into Japan. But together with this, we have a sunspot that kicked off a X5 solar flare on the 31st or early on January 1st. This X5 solar flare is the worst solar flare of this cycle, and it's the worst solar flare since September of 2017. Okay, AR 3536. There's something strange about sunspot AR 3536. Its magnetic field is cockeyed. This magnetic map from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory shows what we mean. All sunspots have two magnetic poles, plus and minus. They're supposed to be oriented side by side like this. Instead, the magnetic field of AR 3536 is perpendicular to normal. This twist may explain why the sunspot is so active. Twisted magnetic fields harbor extra energy for solar flares. In the past 2 days, AR 3536 has unleashed 4 M-class flares and an X5 class flare that ranks as the most powerful explosion of solar cycle 25 so far. Now, if we look at 3536 in the Hebrew concordance, it means a furnace or a kiln. This is used 4 times in the Bible. Genesis 19:28, it went up as the smoke of a furnace. Exodus 9:8, ashes of the furnace. And Exodus 9:10 and 19:18 also use as the smoke of a furnace. The last usage of this is from Exodus 19:18. It says, and Mount Sinai was completely in smoke because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace and quaked the whole mountain greatly. Very interesting. This is talking about a great earthquake or a great tremor, a great shaking, together with this word 3536, furnace. And Exodus 19:18 was when God sounded his trumpet. Exodus 19 is on Mount Sinai when God sounded his own trumpet, the trumpet of God. Okay, Exodus 19. Now, this is also very interesting. In the Greek concordance, 3536 is a Ninevite. And this is in Matthew 12:41. It says, the men of Nineveh will stand and rise in judgment against this generation. Luke 11:30, this is a sign unto the Ninevites. 11:32, the men of Nineveh will stand up in judgment against this generation. And if we look up 11:32, the last usage of this in the Greek, the men of Nineveh will stand up in the judgment of this generation and will condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, greater than Jonah is here. 3536, X5 solar flare, and it is still on the way to Earth. This has not impacted Earth yet. But I think this Japan earthquake may be connected to it, and we may see greater events happening connected with this. So we need to keep all of this in mind. Now, one other thing I wanted to share with you, if we look at the Gregorian calendar, January 2nd, we're going to see that on the Julian calendar, it is still only December 20th of 2023. There were 13 days taken off the calendar when it was switched from Julian to Gregorian. And so we are still in 2023 on the Julian calendar. And if we go to Gregorian January 13th, that is the last day of the year on the Julian calendar. So we are technically still in 2023. We need to keep that in mind. In the description box and in the first pinned comment, I'm going to leave information for you guys about an update I did earlier today for the Bridge of Love home here in Yucatan, Mexico. Please check out our updated report on all of the ministries we're doing here, and you can find out how you can support all of the ministry items that we are doing. Be a partner with us in this work. We thank you for taking the time to read the report, to pray for us, and for those who are able to give. I pray you guys are all blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.
All right, guys, you've seen those few clips. Now I'm going to read to you. You guys know, what's his name, actually? David Wilkerson's prophecy from 1972 was predicted that the financial collapse starts in Germany, and then it becomes a domino effect. It hits Japan, and then immediately after the United States. Why am I saying this? Well, because WEF President 2024 is the year one of the New World Order. The World Economic Forum's president declared on Tuesday that 2024 is the year the New World Order will officially rise to power. All of this stuff, guys, we are getting ready to go through a financial collapse. Iran right now is in such a massive war and getting hit big time by Pakistan. Everything that's been happening is a domino effect. We have in China, we have another pandemic that's occurring, and it's going to be widespread here, and they said it's going to affect your brain and things like that. It's going to be worse than 2019. And then my daughter actually came and told me the other day and said, Mom, I think we're getting ready to have another March. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she said, you know, when 2019 happened, it's going to be worse. And she's right, because right after she said that was when the news of the January 17th news prophecy of that is supposed to be starting to come out. I have to be very careful because I'm being extremely monitored. Persecution is getting ready to come to the Christians, and I'm not talking about beheadings. I'm talking about the shutting down of the channels, the medias. They're going to be censoring. They're going to be civil unrest in the streets. They're coming after us because America's getting ready to pull out completely and leave Israel standing alone. And I believe that from all of this, nuclear war is going to be widespread. Bombs come down, we go up. Now, we have the sun that has been throwing off X5 solar flares, which we know is going to cause EMPs, the headaches, the dizziness, the heart racing, people feeling sick. We see funky clouds in the sky, sunsets that are redder than normal. We've been seeing all these chain reactions of events. Well, excuse me, with that, it's going to also trigger, okay, we have the Earth's magnetic field. I've explained this several times, and it pulls out, looks like this, okay, and it keeps going like this. And then we have the Earth that's right here, and what's going to happen, it's right at the tip where it's going to just explode and okay, and I just explained this to a friend, what I've not only been shown in a dream, but through scripture, and how it makes perfect sense is when Jesus comes back, He's all powerful. He's going to shift everything out of place. Okay, well, as soon as this happens, it's going to be a big, loud flash of light as lightning flashes from the east so far into the west. So shall be the coming of the Son of Man. And it's going to sound like thunder to those who are not watching and waiting, okay? But for us, we're going to hear the trumpet, right? So we have this flash because the binary system finally just exploded and the Earth's magnetic field just completely done, and it pulled everything out of shift. So people are going to be thinking they heard this loud sonic boom at the same timing of nuclear war. Okay, and I don't think it's going to obliterate America like that. I believe that's going to happen slowly. It's going to knock out the borders. Like I said, it's going to entrap people on the inside, because what is FEMA getting ready for? Why has 15 billionaires built bunkers? Think about it. Why are stores becoming bare of certain foods? Why have they been making plant-based? Why have they now passed the law that you can now EAT people? Okay, and we know in Obadiah it talks about that they're going to have a kettle, and people's going to be doing cannibalism. It's coming all back. And then we have the giant puppets that they're doing. I don't know if you guys seen them, but they're like 12 and 15 feet tall. They're getting ready for the aliens. They're getting ready for the Nephilim. Okay, and I truly do believe that they're here, because both worlds have now collided because of the pole shift. Okay, and I've had many dreams of these. So, going through that, okay, the Earth is absorbing massive amounts of radiation through the North and the South Poles, and it's about to get worse. We're approaching solar maximum this year. The sun has begun flaring again. So the most intense flare of solar cycle 25 just occurred with X5 solar flares, and the sunspot count is climbing again. The sun's activity is ramping up. The magnetic North Pole continues racing towards Siberia. The magnetic South Pole is on the move as well. The magnetic shield that protects Earth is at its weakest ever in recorded history. Earth's protective shield keeps getting weaker faster and faster. Cracks in the Earth's magnetic sphere keep opening. Cosmic and ultraviolet radiation is easily passing through down into the Earth's atmosphere and into the ground. We've had numerous unexpected and low latitude auras under minor geomagnetic conditions. Earth is absorbing all the radiated energy and melting rock underneath us. The core of the Earth is expanding. Magma is rising. The polar caps are melting. 2023 was the hottest year on record. 2024 is forecast to be worse, with more intense record-breaking land, sea, air temperatures, along with record-breaking fires. Okay, Earth is charging up. The unusually high amplitudes of the Schumann Renaissance prove this. The extremely charged storming proves this. Record lightning strikes prove this. The sudden magnetic pole reversal that Earth is racing toward triggers the sudden geophysical pole shift catalysm. During this event, there will be no protection from the galactic cosmic radiation as the sky rolls together like a scroll. Earth's shield falls to the ground and space along with it. Regions will be flash frozen in the time and others burned to a crisp, and that's not even half of it. Why is this so important? Well, because we have the Teslas and stuff already that can't get charged. We're already seeing Arctic freeze, which reminds me of the movie The Day After Tomorrow. Okay? Everything's intertwining. Everything's completely off its axis. Nothing is normal. This is not normal, guys. Okay? And I want to keep going and going and going, but I'm trying not to do long videos. But first of all, worldwide recession caused by economic confusion. This is David Wilkerson. In 1972, I saw in my vision few more flat, flourishing years, and then an economic recession that's going to affect the lifestyle of every wage earner in the world. The world economists are now going to get lost to explain what's happening, and it's going to start in Germany, spread to Japan, and finally to the United States. Now, I wanted to, I wanted to mention something. They now said that in 2024, they are going to depopulate most of those by 90%. Now, they're talking about the explanation of that is going to trigger, you have the rapture, and then the third of the earth is going to burn up because of hail, fire, and brimstone. Judgment's going to be coming upon the earth because the great tribulation is about to begin. We're in tribulation timing. We're in the recess. We're watching the beginnings of the New World Order beginning. And this is the year we're all on phones with the digital currency and everything. Okay. Now, They said it's going to be a domino effect. So Germany enters recession following economic collapse, and experts predict the situation only getting worse for Europe's largest economy as IMF sharply upgrades UK growth forecasts. The German economy suffered an unexpected dip in the first quarter of the year, formally putting the country into a recession, new figures show. Germany's gross domestic product fell by 0.3% in the period from January to March. Data released on Thursday by the Federal Statistical Office shows the figures come as a major blow to Germany's government, which just weeks ago boldly doubled its growth forecast for this year after a feared winter energy crunch failed to materialize. Chief economist at Commerzbank, George Kramer, drew a similar conclusion. Unfortunately, there is no fundamental improvement in sight because all important leading indicators in the manufacturing sector are now failing, he declared. And then last modified on Monday, January 15th, 2024, 20.08 GMT, Germany is on the track for its first two-year recession since the early 2000s after its economy shrank in 2023 amid the impact of higher energy costs, weaker industrial demand. The German National Statistics Office said that multiple crises affecting the economy had contributed to a 0.3% fall in gross domestic product in 2023 compared with the previous year as higher interest rates and elevated living costs took their toll. We also see that gas prices right now seem to be doing okay. They're still under $3, but the barrel has gone up of oil, and we see the war on oil happening, especially with the ships over in the Red Sea. So, guys, pray over this as always, and I will be back with more videos. God bless.
A lot of people say, why would they be faking space? Why are they faking all this? Why aren't they really flying? And we'll get into that. I'll show you exactly how much cash they're making off this. And we're paying for it. Their money is coming from our government, and our government's money comes from our credit. So we're paying for these people to extort money from us and give it to all their buddies and their, the Raytheon and Skunk Labs and, all their little contractor buddies are just raping billions. And I'll show you. And when people see this, so, the flat earth people will say because they're hiding the firmament and they're hiding God and you're not a speck of dust. That's probably, I believe in that stuff too. But today, I don't care if you're a ball earther or a flat earther. I'm going to show you the cash incentive. Why either way, this is such a gravy train. This is one of the reasons they're doing it. Yeah.
When you talk about business, what do you mean by that?
Profit for all your rich buddies and your contractor buddies, just like war. A guy who rents a room in my flat, he's ex-Swedish Special Forces. He was saying, man, you think the war is big money. He said the contractors who supply the shoelaces for the boots, the food for all the soldiers in the base, the toilets, they're charging $10,000 for a toilet, which you could go out and buy at Home Depot for $200 or whatever. So, the real gravy trains are all these contracts. Same when they blow up Gaza right now. Someone's going to have to rebuild that after they put their Ben Gurion Canal in there. And that will definitely go to the contractor buddies, and someone's going to rape billions and billions off the rebuilding. And the space industry is like that. Let's start with that, actually. Can I share my screen with you? This comes from my friend Jaron Campanella from Jaronism and Globebusters. On the left here, you see hundreds of billions of dollars, right? The first column on the left in the green is the entire music industry. That includes the videos, that includes the CDs, Spotify, Apple Music, all the online music, all the record sales, CDs, MP3s, that whole industry. And that also includes the music players, that's stereos and CD players. They bring in $19.3 billion a year. The next, you see movie and home entertainment. That includes all the Netflix, video rentals, downloads, streaming, everything, even the devices. That industry brings 136 billion a year. Next, you have the video games. Now, this also includes your apps. This is like your video apps, home video gaming, the devices, so all the Xboxes and PlayStations and all that crap, the phones that you play the games on, every device, they bring in 137 billion a year. Combined, those three industries bring in $292 billion a year. And to the right is the space industry, which brings in $410 billion a year, which is almost double of all of those other three industries combined. Movie includes Hollywood, by the way. That's the entire Hollywood, profit and budget for all Hollywood and television movies as well. So when people say, well, why are they doing this? Why are they faking going to space? Well, wouldn't you say $410 billion a year is a pretty good reason, to fake that? I would.
When we talk about space, just for clarity, what are we talking about?
We're talking about space programs where they claim they're going to the moon, or they've got the ISS, International Space Station, floating around up there, or they're sending probes, out, Cassini out to the deep space and diving through Saturn's rings, which we'll talk about what a joke that is. And the satellite programs and anything out of upper atmosphere. So let's say any person or equipment out over, say, 100,000 feet in the air.
Conspiracy theory, we know that already. But this FEMA manager warns us about the things that they've been getting ready for. And, I love the fact that I didn't disappoint you. Everything we've been talking about in this channel is exactly what they've been getting ready for.
Some information that I just want to pass along, give to you guys about FEMA, because a lot of people don't understand how FEMA operates. So FEMA provides training for things that they see on the near future. They use predictive modeling, threat assessment, following trends to look at possible scenarios that might be coming up. This year, the first three scenarios that they're offering to emergency managers like myself in these virtual tabletop exercises is infrastructure blackouts, social unrest, and mass casualty, mass shooter incidents specifically focused around malls. So, given that information, I would highly recommend you to think about your planning processes, your systems, and how you're just going to conduct yourself in terms of one of those three or more occurring in your daily life.
That the government